update. Introduce Christian Grant from Combitech. Over to you, Christian.
Oh, thank you. So I work for Combitech, but Combitech is a consultancy company. So the one who I truly work for is Boliden. So Boliden pay my salary and on what I think between at least 9 to 5. So with that said, let's head into our project. And you can see the steering committee here. I think it's the latest update, but I'm not completely sure. So if we head into, I will do, although it's an update, I will head into the background. So if we continue to the next slide, and as you saw in the previous presentation, the drivers for automation it's basically safety now, right? Getting our peoples out of harm's way. But we do believe that automation can increase our productivity, that it has done for other industries. Now, the vision that we have for this mixed traffic project is not as grand as the zero entry, right? So we basically start in that we sort of accept the processes that we have. And when the pictures you see here is actually, it's 15 years old, I think. It's from Boliden, and this was an attempt to measure productivity. It turned out that with the measurement, we had a utilization at the phase of about 25%. And then we did simulations with automation and came to the conclusion that we could get up to 50% utilization at uptime, basically, of the machine, uptime of the phase, I should say, driving the mine forward. Now, that's 100% productivity increase. So, of course, a lot of efforts started. So if you go to the next slide, basically automating our machine, making our machines into our mobile machines into robots. So this was a drive. Now, for basically all of the tasks in our process, we do have automated or semi-automated or teleoperated machines, which ought to give us extremely good productivity. But that has not shown to be true. The reason comes in the next slide is the way we implemented functional and system safety. So it's super good way of proving your safety. You put the robots in the cage and you are sure that no one can get hurt by them. Now, the problem here has been that there are some exceptions where we actually have good productivity out of the automated machines. But most often, especially underground, there are a lot of other processes going on at the same time as you produce with automated machines, maintenance, preparations for next steps, and so on. And that has turned out that very often someone has to step into the robot cell to do maintenance, repair machine, or something like that, and then the robot cell is standing still. You have downtime, basically. So the conclusion, if you go to the next slide, has been that we need to do like the manufacturing industry has done with their robots. They basically started to take away their robot cells, going to something they call cooperative robotics, cobots. That's for stationary robots. Now, of course, our robots, machines are mobile, right? The field there in academia is called field robotics, that you probably know. So we need to go into something that would be field cobots, what we call mixed traffic. And you can define mixed traffic in many different ways. The way we have done it is basically that we should be able to work in the same area as we have automated machines. And it's okay in our case that the automated machine stops and stands still when a manual machine or vehicle wants to pass it close by. That's the assumptions that we have taken for what mixed traffic is. If you continue, So basically, then what is the problem? Well, what it comes down to is not if we can do automated machines. That has been shown and they exist. But the problem is, how do we show that they are safe when we want people basically cooperating with the machine, being fairly close to the machines. The idea is the same as in manufacturing industry, that automated machines are great at repetitive tasks, yet super good, but they're not innovative, which means that to solve problems that occur, we need people also in this. This is the big challenge, I guess, in the zero entry. And we are, as I said, our vision is not as grand, but it's towards increasing automation and the utilization and the applications of automated machines by making field cobots safe. So if we go to the next slide, you can then argue that we already have functional safety. Functional safety is basically targeting, here you see something called the autonomous drive system. It's functional safety is targeting the electronics. So making sure that you have electronics that fulfill the integrity levels, basically, that is safe. It goes into software as well. Now, in functional safety, you make assumptions about the environment and about the machines. And those are assumptions. You can't really prove it. You need to argue for it. If you go to the next slide, we go into system safety. And I know that the definition of functional safety and system safety probably are as many as there are safety engineers. This is my view, so you can argue with me later. From in system safety, we have a slightly different perspective. We basically say that everything is a control problem, and then it's based on system theory, and we go from where we have if we have problems with the control, we can cause accidents. But also here, you are arguing about the environment and about how you do measurements. That's not part of your system or your safety analysis. It's an argumentation. Now, the guys that are working with me on this project comes from mainly from the automotive industry. So we've been part of this automation hype, and we have been trying to create the robotaxis and automated trucks running on the roads and so on. From that, we learned a lot. So if you go to the next slide, we basically learned that this is also why it was a hype. And currently, we don't really see automated trucks and robotaxis on the streets. We realized that we had problems when we went up and we argued for safety. Our managers basically asked us, "Can you prove it?" And we couldn't, because it was an argumentation when it came to how our system would perform in the environment that we put the machine out in. So we have developed some principles to be able to prove. So basically, be able to prove safety instead. So so the way we are now running this project is that we want measurable safety over subjective judgments. We need a defined limited context over vague context, proven arguments over claims, and basically we are pushing the moral concepts outside of the engineering work, and then also the definition of what risk and safety is, making it proven. So if we go to the next slide, what I'm basically saying, and this is to be able to prove something, you need a limited set. This goes back to Gödel's incompleteness theorems, if you're familiar with them. It comes from logic, published about 100 years ago. It means that we need to have an understanding for the complete set and the environment. So this is the big difference, that we found a way to be able to prove our measurements, which you don't have in the other. We built the proven safety on functional safety and system safety. They are great white papers. If you haven't read them, do read them. If we continue to the next slide, this is basically our project and what we're doing in the project. Our project we defined as writing 4 white papers. The first one is on the theoretical foundation. The ambition is to publish this paper before summer. We have had a number of workshops on it and revisions. The technical implementation, we haven't come as far, but we also the ambition is to publish before summer. And the difference is basically that the theoretical foundation is quite academic, and the technical implementation is basically an engineering paper telling you in practice how can I implement these theories. Then we haven't started with the industry application yet. That's basically saying that when you develop a new technology and you introduce it in the industry, you need to work in a different ways. You basically need to do change management. Otherwise, it's highly likely that your technology will fail. So you can't just go and work the same way as you did before. So the idea is that the industry application paper is about that. The ecosystem. We had a webinar, was it last week or the week before, where we went through what we've done. And to be able to prove a system, we need to rely on an infrastructure. We need to build an infrastructure. And this paper is intended to go into, for our industry, how can we develop basically infrastructure for our underground mines that can provide these kind of integrity and safety levels. If we continue to the next slide. This is basically the content of the theoretical foundation. When you do formal proofs, you basically start with axioms theory. So we basically start with, you need to believe that there are points and you can draw lines between the points. Then we basically derive the numerical system, the geometry, the math, the physics, and logic behind. We are using some computer science. But this is just the framework to prove it. We actually need to go, since we're using radio to do this measurement, when you do radio light, you need to go into relativity and to some extent quantum physics. But we are trying to write the paper, so it's not that heavy. So if you go to the next slide, basically what you will find in the paper is that we show how you can prove your measurements, giving a proven localization, because that's what we are lacking to get a proven situation, which means that we can do a threat assessment that we can build and prove, so that we don't have an automated machine at the same place as a manual machine or vehicle at the same time. If we continue to the next slide, this goes into the technical implementation. What are we implementing? Now, this is called Kite Shield. So to be able to write the paper about how to do an implementation, we need to try out an implementation, right? So this is Boliden, LKAB and BHP are sponsoring this project where we built the prototype, and this is a safety system. It's a pure safety system. The only thing it can do, as you see down to the left in the picture, is actually stop an automated vehicle. Can't do anything else. And yes, this will not increase your productivity if you don't build a production automation system that utilizes the flexibility that this safety system gives you. It will only make sure that it's safe, and you don't need to consider the integrity, safety integrity, when you build the automation system. I hope it's clear. If we continue to the next slide, this is just showing the way we're building it. It's an infrastructure. So you need to put up an infrastructure. We are basically building it as cables that you can roll out, but of course you need to mount them in the tunnels. If you take the next slide, you can see this is the next shows the inside of our prototype. The radio chip that you put up, or board, I should say, that you put into the infrastructure is fairly small. It weighs about 30 grams, so it's quite blast resistant actually as well. We are working hard to make this component, since you need a lot of them in the infrastructure. We are working hard on making it really, really cheap. So the ambition is to come down to levels that are about in the same range as the LAN cable we're using between the boards per meter. So if we continue to the next one, this is basically saying that to introduce mixed traffic into the process, then we need to change the way we are working. We have started, but we just started on this work. For this white paper, I really would like volunteers to help out. If we go to the next one, this comes into, I mean, for this to be possible, really be a technology that can be valid for the future, we need to build an ecosystem of it. It's an infrastructure, and we need this to last over time. So in this paper, the idea is to describe how we are going to make this happen. It's not that strange, right? It comes down to that we need localization with integrity, in the same way as when you digitalize your mines, you are going to need infrastructure. You can't do it without. And the question is how we build it up. My view is basically that our industry is underinvested in infrastructure to be able to take these technology steps forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Christian.